I'll call to order the Planning Commission meeting for July 13th, 2026 at 6 p.m. Roll call.
Okay, Lopes Serrero,
Here.
Sagami,
Here.
Cronin is excused, Decent,
Here.
Grant, I have not heard from him, so, Jordan,
Here.
Lumber.
Here. I will open for public comment for anything that's not agendized. If you're on the agenda, we'll have you speak during that time, but otherwise, if anybody else has public comment, please feel free to come on up. All right. Any written communications, disclosures, or recusals?
Did not received any.
Item number 4, minutes from the May 11th, 2026 meeting.
Move to approve as presented.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, public hearing for project 202602237, requesting a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit pursuant to section 94.4.09 sub 8 of the Village of Weston zoning code at 4804 Shorey Avenue. I'll open the public hearing. Presentation by staff.
All right, this request is from Chad and Roxanne Brecky for a conditional use permit to construct a 1,090 square foot detached accessory dwelling unit at their property located at 4804 Shorey Avenue. The property is approximately 12.35 acres in size, is currently zoned RR5, Rural Residential 5 acre, and contains an existing single-family residence where the applicants currently reside. The proposed ADU is intended to provide housing for a family member. Under section 94.4.09 parent 8 of the Village Zoning Code, an accessory dwelling unit is permitted in the RR5 zoning district through the conditional use process. Staff has reviewed the application and finds that the proposed ADU complies with the applicable ordinance requirements, including the size limitations and other performance standards, and I have those listed in the report further on. The draft conditional use permit includes conditions requiring the ADU to be constructed in accordance with the approved plans, comply with the ADU performance standards in the zoning ordinance, remain accessory to the principal residence, and be used only as a long-term residential dwelling, not as a short-term rental or transient lodging. Those are included in the draft conditions, and you are welcome to add any others. This will probably end up being our template going into the future for future ADUs going forward. Staff is available to answer any questions following the public hearing. We would still have to approve the building permit. So we'll have, Roman said they're working on, essentially more detailed plans, construction plans, and those await and include with any conditional use permit that gets approved. So right now, what you're seeing is just basically a rendering of what the building will look like. And then you have like a generic site location, but we'll have a better one that will come with the building permit.
Do we have an applicant here?
I don't think he is.
Is there any public comment on this item? Is there anybody that would love to give public comment on item number 5? I will close the public hearing. Any discussion from the commission?
How many of these they're gonna build?
Just one.
Just one?
It's an accessory dwelling unit. So essentially, I have a feeling you might see some more of these. The state is going to be probably pushing.
That's 1,500 square foot, right?
No,
Just over 1,000.
it's 1,090. So there's standards that it has to be smaller than the existing home. So I have a lot of that information. It has to be less than 15,000 square feet. So if you look at the conditional permit determination that's in there, I kind of take you through everything. It has the performance standards that are listed. I don't know what page it starts on. It's a little further up there.
1,090 square feet.
Yeah, so it is smaller than the existing home. And it meets it's smaller than the maximum that would be allowed as an ADU in the performance standards. So on that first and second page are the 5 performance standards that they have to meet.
And this is, a family member?
Yeah, Mr. Brecky's father passed away recently. So they're moving mom from the Appleton area to live with them on the premises. And would like to give her her own little mother-in-law house in the backyard. As you can see from the renderings, there'll be a small garage attached to the accessory dwelling unit. So that's one of the details that we need to, hammer out with Mr. Brecky is, where the driveway is coming from and that sort of, but conceptually what you see is the plan. They were meeting with the architect to get the construction drawings shortly after we had gotten the application in from them.
And all utilities would be not coming from the
No,
current residents.
correct. It'll need its own meter. It needs its either approval from the county to tie into the existing pouts with a amendment letter for the existing pouts or its own standalone pouts.
Yeah, so this is outside our water and sewer area, so it's still private, well and septic.
Any other discussion or questions?
I was just gonna ask if their mother-in-law doesn't want to use it in the future, would it be allowed for long-term or short-term rental? And would that require any other approval from the village?
Jennifer question.
I think I put that in there.
I believe it can only be occupied by a family member, but that's.
Actually, I don't think so.
No?
It can be occupied. May not exceed one family plus one unrelated person.
Or 2 unrelated individuals.
So it could be long-term or short-term rented in the future.
So it could be a rental, yes,
But it
but it
cannot
can't be,
sold.
so,
It can't be like an Airbnb.
right, so that's what I put in the conditions, to not allow, it'd have to come back in if they wanted to do more of a short-term rental. And be like an Airbnb. That's a totally different land
It's
use.
tied into the property as a whole, like you couldn't sell that as an individual.
So if you look at the draft, conditional use permit, that's going to outline all that. So number 4 talks about shall be used solely as a long-term residential dwelling and should not be used for short-term rental, transient lodging, vacation rental, hotel, motel, bed and breakfast, or any similar use intended for occupancy of less than 30 consecutive days.
Any other questions or discussions?
And then,
Another question I had when I went through this, how, because we've had these come up in the past,
Mhm.
and in that case, it was a subdivision, more or less. Now it's so much bigger parcel.
Yeah.
Probably safety question that comes up, like how does the fire department access that type of thing?
well, it's most likely gonna have a driveway. Right now, you can kind of see it that they have some kind of an access down there. So we just have to figure out if he's going to tie into his existing driveway and have it come off there, or if he's going to request a new driveway.
I just wanted to bring it up because I realize they don't have it laid out, and that's why I had the question.
Yeah,
You know,
so
how
it
do
would
you-
have access. I mean, it has to have access via driveway. Any of our buildings require that, so it will have to as part of the building permit process.
Will it get a separate address?
Mhm.
Okay, either way,
Yeah.
it would get a separate address, whether it's a
Mhm.
unit or a
Yeah,
separate
it'll
number.
get its own separate number.
And so if they come off of Shorey, then there will be an identifying flag.
It'll have a
out there.
fire number.
Type of thing.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's, because I assume these are gonna become more frequent and.
Their own
Yeah.
fire number and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and
they have
then,
their own number, they're gonna have their own,
Yeah, and then, so
It would
they,
lend itself to having their own driveway.
yeah, so I mean, he could tie in off of the existing driveway and go across, to the unit or come straight up from Shorey.
That was that's where my concern was only how do they identify when they, if you need emergency services, fire, rescue, that.
Yeah, so if it's a shared driveway, typically how it functions is there's one at the street for both. And then as you get back into the shared driveway, there's gonna be additional identifying flags in
Okay,
there.
so it'd be very identifiable.
Yep.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions?
So how many square footage? Just looking at this is more than 1,000 square foot
It's 1,090.
because it's 33 feet wide. 30 feet wide. I'm gonna say by 42. Well, a little bit part of it goes to the garage.
Just one.
Just the square footage doesn't make sense to me.
No. Okay. We can move on to determination then. Number one, is the proposed conditional use consistent with the comprehensive plan, this chapter, and all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village?
Yes.
Number two, the proposed conditional use in its proposed location and as depicted on the required site plan will not result in a substantial or undue adverse impact on nearby property, the character of the neighborhood, environmental factors, traffic factors, parking, public improvements, public property or rights of way, or other matters affecting the public health, safety, or general welfare, either as they now exist or as they may in the future be developed as a result of the implementation of the provisions of this chapter, the comprehensive plan, or all other plans, programs, and ordinances adopted by the village.
Yes.
Yes.
Number three, does the proposed conditional use will maintain the desired consistency of land uses, land use intensities, and land use impacts as related to the environs of the subject property?
Yes.
Number four, is the proposed conditional use located in an area that will adequately served by, it will not impose an undue burden on any of the improvements, facilities, utilities, or services provided by public agencies serving the project property? Yes. Subject property. And number five, do the potential public benefits of the proposed conditional use outweigh potential adverse impacts of the proposed conditional use after taking into consideration the applicant's proposal and any requirements recommended by the applicant to, I don't know how to pronounce that word, ameliorate such impacts?
Yes.
Thank you. With that, I would take a motion.
Move to approve the conditional use permit at 4804 Shorey Avenue with the conditions 1 through 7 as presented.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, project 202-50424, final plat of subdivision redevelopment agreement.
All right, this request is for the final plat of the Bull Junior View subdivision, a proposed 23 lot, single family residential subdivision submitted by Rudy Builders. The preliminary plat was approved by the village board back in December of 2025, subject to conditions. Staff have reviewed the final plat and find that it is in substantial conformance with the approved preliminary plat, complies with chapter 74 of the village code, and addresses the applicable engineering requirements. The proposed lots meet the dimensional requirements of the SFL zoning district, and the temporary emergency access easement has been reviewed and approved by the Director of Public Works. Staff is recommending that the Plan Commission forward a recommendation of approval to the village board, subject to the conditions that are contained in the attached draft resolution number 2026-019.
Discussion? Questions?
And Dustin is here as the engineer on the project, if you have any additional questions, but essentially it is the same that was reviewed back in December. The preliminary plan.
There's no questions or discussion. I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion in a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, project 202600169, specific implementation plan, amendment number 2, tidal wave auto spa, 6237 Business Highway 51.
All right, this is on the agenda just for your basically acknowledgement. They do have a specific implementation plan at Tidal Wave. And so whenever they do anything there, they either have to go through the process, do like a major amendment to it, or in this case, it was considered minor because it was just a little shed. So I didn't want to drag them through a public hearing. And the ordinance does allow us as staff to consider those minor changes to the specific implementation plan. So the only requirement is that we bring it so that you guys know. So this was actually approved last month already. And the building permit for the shed has been issued, but this is just on for acknowledgement.
I commend you for being proactive and helping these guys get this done and staying within the guidelines of their permit.
Sure. Any questions? Always I take a motion to acknowledge.
Motion to acknowledge. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, May and June 2026 staff approved certified survey maps and site plans. Any question?
There's a list of the site plans that have been approved since our last meeting. Most of them are under construction already, including the Burger Kings. And then Fabit Cat did finally come in. That one was kind of hanging out there because they were trying to determine how they were going to finish off their parking lot. So that one had been, you can see that was a 24 project actually. So but that's been all, these have all been approved and like I said, are under construction in some way.
Except holiday.
Oh, yeah, they're out for bids.
Any questions or comments? Always I take a motion to acknowledge.
Move to acknowledge.
Motion.
I'll second. And again, I appreciate your work on that to get all this stuff done, Jennifer.
Well, it's just nice that back in 2015, the Plan Commission and Board, gave staff the ability to do
Right.
it. So your agendas don't have sign permits and like they used to when I first got here. So it definitely helps things move along out there. So
Absolutely.
thank you
Do not
for
miss those.
having trust in us.
Right.
Yeah, you should go look at some old agendas. There
Absolutely.
were sign permits. I'd have to wait like 60 days sometimes for people just to get a sign. So,
You just have
because
to-
everything came through here.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, May 2026 building permits.
Just combine those.
Sure. Let's do number 9 and number 10, May 2026 building permits, and number 10, June 2026 building permits.
Just acknowledge the move to
Yeah,
acknowledge.
move to
Yep.
acknowledge.
Move to acknowledge item 9 and 10.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to acknowledge items number 9 and 10. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 11, Planning and Development Department Monthly Project Update Report.
The report is in the packet. There's not a lot to report on. Trying to think. The only thing, let's see, the only one we're working on right now is the precision body and frame. That's just a small addition, office addition that they're gonna be doing on Post Avenue. So other than that, there's some things percolating out there, but mostly we are dealing with complaints and building permits and new houses and the comp plan. So we do have an upcoming meeting, the beginning of August will be the next one. So Mark will be here again.
What, in front of Select Auto, there's still, it appears like a slab of concrete that's never been poured there right in the front. It's been that way for quite some time. It's on the north side of the road.
Auto select?
Select Auto Select, yeah.
In front of,
Bug?
Next to the nursery.
yeah, that property. That's part of his. I believe that section is parking area that's yet to be poured. We had stopped in there with the state building inspector a couple weeks ago and he's been working out of town. So I have informed him that his sunset timeline is fast approaching. So he's not exactly super like urgent with getting stuff done.
Yeah.
So,
And the, a little further out, the storage.
Yeah.
I see now the carpenter is putting up some walls and roof, but
he was moving along until stuff got stolen off the site. So I don't know how much exactly got stolen off the site, but
yeah, but if I remember correctly, he told us that both of those buildings were gonna be up. Well,
this year he's supposed to pave this year as well.
yeah,
You know, Owen's regularly in communication with me on issues. So I believe this body gave him the extension on paving, so it'll be a discussion that comes up with him. But he should be very aware of his timeline.
thank you.
Whether he acknowledges that and remembers, but I'll bring it up to him.
That's why we have minutes.
Well, he has a conditional use permit that states it this time because he came back in for that amendment.
Yeah, because there is a date that there's some deadlines, right?
Yeah, he
I
just
remember
came in
what
for
it
an
is.
amendment and that's in there.
Some deadline.
Yeah, so you may see him again. You may see quite a few conditional use permits back in here. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
We're working on things.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we acknowledge this one too, or
Sure, if you want to.
do I have a motion to acknowledge?
Yes.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, announcements and commissioner remarks. Any announcements from staff? Any announcements from commissioners?
My only comment is I just want to echo what Joe said. I think you really done a nice job with eliminating some of the things that we spent time on
Yeah.
that really were not necessary. And that, and that staff can adequately handle it. They don't need to be addressed here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the professionalism with all of the stuff that you guys draft for these conditional use permits and all that sort of stuff. It's really done well, and I can only hope then that the experience of people coming in, being told that, okay, instead of no, well, the answer is no, but here's what you need to do in order to do that. And you're helping them through that process. I think that's just great.
Do we need a permit for roof replacement?
On your building specifically?
Right,
Yep,
we do? Okay.
per code, yeah.
So now it's on public
Okay, I'll send it out. Huh? That's the best place to ask it.
Yeah. All right, item 13, future agenda items or staff referrals. Item 14, next meeting dates, sub A, comprehensive plan steering committee meeting, Monday, August 3rd, 2026 at 6 p.m. Sub B, regular meeting, Monday, August 10th, 2026 at 6 p.m. If there's nothing else, I take a motion to adjourn.
Please. Second.
Motion in this, I have a please in a second. Any discussion? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:25 p.m.
At least one fast one.